we have Jason and Sabina from Tando. This is something I've been looking forward to seeing. The guys have been making waves in the past few weeks, I've seen. So Sabina got her founding with Bitcoin Data, and then she moved into doing some work with Splice, which is a startup with doing lightning transactions, cross-border lightning transactions. And now she's moved on to be co-founder of Tando. Jason apparently has come out of retirement to work on Tando, so this must be a great project. Self-confessed digital nomad, has traveled to, I think, 140 different countries. Damn, you got passport privilege, that's for sure. You're not getting visas, are you? And with that, guys, please come join us on the stage and tell us about Tando.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sabina. I am one of the co-founders of Tando. And today, I'm here to share with you our story. So when Herman approached us to be speakers at this year's conference, he mentioned that the theme was going to be focusing on Bitcoin as a medium of exchange across Africa. And this theme fits perfectly with what we are doing at Tando, which is accelerating Bitcoin adoption as a medium of exchange across Africa, starting in Kenya. So let's do a brief introduction on what Tando is for those who are not familiar yet. So Tando is a mobile app that lets anyone easily spend Bitcoin anywhere in Kenya. Mpesa is accepted. So think of Tando as a bridge between Bitcoin users and merchants who are not accepting Bitcoin yet. So you get to spend your Bitcoin while the merchant on the other side receives fiat. And according to, for those who are not familiar with M-Pesa, it's our version of mobile money in Kenya, and it's one of the largest mobile money operator in Kenya, and it was also one of the first mobile money network operators in Africa. It's kind of made mobile money become a thing here in Africa. And according to a report by Safaricom, who launched M-Pesa in 2007, by end of last year, 34 million people of the Kenyan's population use M-Pesa. So you can imagine the massive impact, the massive potential impact that Tando has in driving Bitcoin adoption across Kenya, because we believe that, just as Kenya leapfrogged the world in mobile money using M-Pesa and the digital shilling, we are doing it again, but this time with Tando and Bitcoin. Because if Kenya was the birthplace for mobile money that brought financial inclusion to millions of people, then why should it be left behind in this new revolution that is Bitcoin? So now let's look at how Tando came to be, which brings me down to the essence of my presentation: listening versus lecturing. So we often get asked, how did you guys come up with this brilliant solution? How did you spot the problem? And our answer: we listened. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We should listen twice as much as we talk. So 2 years ago, in an effort to orange peel Kenyans, we made it a habit to tip our service providers like waitresses, Uber drivers in Bitcoin instead of tipping them in fiat, as I'm sure a lot of you have done. Shout out to Okin and Brindle. So, and these people, they would happily accept the Bitcoin tip because most of them had heard of Bitcoin, but they didn't have enough time to learn about it. So regardless, they were very curious, and yeah, like I say, they would accept the tip. But there was always a common question that would follow after the Bitcoin hit their wallets. And can you guess the question? Yes, how can I spend it? And after hearing this question over and over and over, we sat down and asked ourselves, why isn't there an easy way to spend Bitcoin? And then she had to sell that Bitcoin on exchanges for USD dollars. And then it does not end there. She had to come and swap the USD for Kenyan shillings, and then transfer the Kenyan shillings to her Mpesa, and finally spend that money. We set out to build that solution, which is now Tando, that allows you to convert your Bitcoin into your basic needs instantly without a hassle. So through listening to people's questions, it helped us see the impact potential that Tando has in driving Bitcoin adoption in Kenya. And because, if Bitcoin is gonna become day-to-day money, that means you need an easy way to spend it, just like you do with your day-to-day fiat, right? And that means spending it at the grocery store, spending it at the mall, spending it at the gas station, spending it everywhere you go. So for example, here we have Kevin, our Uber driver, and he's earned his Bitcoin through a Bitcoin tip, and now he is at the gas station and wants to spend that Bitcoin to buy gas, but he has no easy way to spend it. And then you have Esther, our waitress, who's also earned her Bitcoin through a tip, and she now wants to spend that Bitcoin at the grocery store to purchase groceries for her family, but she has no easy way to spend it. And finally, you have Ian, who's our freelancer, and he earns Bitcoin from international clients, and now he wants to spend that Bitcoin to settle his internet bill using this magic internet money, but he has no easy way to spend it. So just like, Kevin, Esther, and Ian want the freedom to easily spend their Bitcoin, you can imagine that businesses would want that same ease if they were to start accepting Bitcoin as payments, because businesses, they need a way they can turn back that Bitcoin revenue into goods and services so that they can restock their shelves. And so this brings me down to the chicken and egg problem, as we like to call it. So let me explain. If you can only receive it, but you can't easily spend it, then you are stuck inside of your eggshell all alone. So to break out of this eggshell, you need a tool that lets everyone spend it, easily spend it. And that tool sorry about that. So you need a tool that lets everyone easily spend it so that they can break out of their eggshell and transform into a full-grown chicken, aka, in our case, a Bitcoin circular economy. And this tool for us in Kenya is Tando. So how does Tando help the three people spend their Bitcoin so that they can break out of their eggshell? Again, we listened. We listened to the current market solution of Mpesa and just integrated Bitcoin into it. So this way, we didn't need to lecture people on how to use it. So the goal was to make it look and feel close to the experience that most people in Kenya are used to when it comes to mobile money, so that they could just pick up the app and use the tool. So this is the current Mpesa app. This is how it looks. And this is the Tando equivalent of it. Mpesa, Tando. And the only difference is this one uses fiat and this one uses Bitcoin. So in Kenya, there are three primary ways to transfer money over the Mpesa network, and that is send money, pay bill, and buy goods. So can you guess which button is for send money? And which one's for pay bill? And which one's for buy goods? Like, it's that easy. It's a no-brainer, and anyone, like my grandma, mom, my small nieces and nephews, they can pick up this app and pay for whatever they want. And so what Tando has done is we've mirrored this experience, therefore enabling or allowing people to spend Bitcoin in ways that make sense in their daily lives. So for example, now, Esther uses the send money feature to purchase her groceries from her vendor, and she is able to buy the groceries for her family. And now we have Kevin, our Uber driver, he can now go to the Shell gas station and spend his Bitcoin using Tando and buy fuel and move on to the next customer. And finally, we have Ian, who uses the pay bill feature to settle his internet bill with the service provider, allowing him to, keep working so that he can earn more magic internet money. And so we built Tando to help Bitcoin users pay for their utilities like rent, food, and transport conveniently without a hassle. And on my left there, we have Felix, who is a Kenyan Bitcoiner. I don't know if he's here, but he says that he used Tando to pay a local tour guide using Bitcoin at a national park. We have Jasper, who's also a Kenyan Bitcoiner, and he says he used Tando to pay rent for his brother, and he highlights the problem that we looked at earlier on, where in Kenya before Tando, you had to sell your Bitcoin on exchanges for Kenyan shillings so that you can spend it. But now with Tando, he says it has made that process for him easier because now he gets to spend his Bitcoin directly. And finally, we have Bitcoin Chama. It's a Bitcoin circular economy in Kisii, Kenya. And these guys are one of our biggest supporters. They use Tando to pay for their day-to-day expenses. And recently they got fresh tap water in their village, and they used Bitcoin and Tando to pay for all the costs, from the plumbing, buying raw materials, paying for labor, everything. And this is the case with so many other Kenyans who are using Tando in the same way. And that was not different at last year's African Bitcoin conference, which happened in Nairobi, Kenya. And most attendees or Bitcoiners who came from other countries, they didn't need to plug into the Mpesa network by buying a SIM card. All they did was download Tando and their favorite Bitcoin wallet, Lightning wallet, and they were able to pay for their utilities like Ubers, souvenirs, buying souvenirs like restaurants. Everything was paid for with Bitcoin using Tando. For example, we have Alex from HRF, I don't know if he's here. We have Anita, who just did her presentation there. We have Gray, who said he paid for his apartment using with Tando and Bitcoin. And there's so many, we could go on and on. You can go on our Twitter at Tando_me, and you'll see all these praises. And did you know that Tando can be used for remittances? Yes. So here we have Cosmo. He said that he sent over 10,000 Satoshis, 10,000 Satoshis over the Lightning network from the USA to Kenya. And fun fact, this is a use case we hadn't even thought of when we started building Tando. It just goes to show you the power of, listening. And by the way, you can download Tando on App Stores or Play Store. Tando Ltd, and you can be able to send money to anyone in Kenya from South Africa. So we've listened, and we continue to listen to everyone who wants Tando in their country, because that's the most requests we've had. And stay tuned, coming to your country soon. So this is a call to action to all Bitcoiners out there, and you guys who are here, to listen and not lecture. Thank you. If we want Bitcoin adoption to accelerate, let's listen and not lecture, because the people are literally telling you what they want if you just listen. And now I'm going to end my lecture here and listen to your questions if you have any. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been my pleasure. Yes?
Is there a way to choose to accept Bitcoin rather than Kenyan shillings through the app as well? So if you talk about circular economies, right, this is a Bitcoin to Mpesa option. Is there an option to say, look, there's a merchant that wants to accept the Bitcoin? Does that exist or not yet?
Not yet, but on the app, we have on the FAQ, we tell merchants who want to receive Bitcoin directly to reach out to us. and we hook them up on how they can do that.
Second question.
Yes.
Are you considering to add an educational feature such as the learn function in the Blink app?
On the Blink app?
Yeah, there's a Blink Lightning wallet that has this learn feature attached to it, with which people can basically self-educate themselves on what Bitcoin is.
We'll look into it. Thank you for the idea. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.